What kind of media institution might distribute your media product and why? A company such as New Line Cinema would be a good institution to distribute our film. This is because in the past they have distributed many films from which we have gained loads of ideas and influences from. They distributed such films such as Friday the 13th, the Final Destination series, and Nightmare on Elm Street. These films were all very successful and popular. New Line Cinema has been there before and know exactly how to market the film to reach the right audience and gain maximum publicity. They are currently about to distribute Final Destination 5. This means that their methods and information will be up to date with what the target audience wants. What have you learned about technologies from the process of constructing this product? We have learned that cameras and their takes can be very temperamental. We had a shot that got lines through it and had to re-record this. We learned that you need to check the camera properly before and after to make sure that it's recorded the scene properly. Another problem we had was with the internal mics in the cameras. When it was really windy, it caused a muffled background sound and didn't record the voice properly. We learned that we could reduce the background noise using software on the Macs. We also had to re-record a voice clip and place it over the top so it could be heard properly. The cameras also didn't cope with low levels of light, and the shots were barely visible when put onto the Mac. Because of this, we had to reshoot an extract of the film in the daytime where it had sufficient amount of light. In our film, we decided to use GarageBand to create all our background music. The software was very versatile and allowed us to create different sounds from different instruments to create an eerie atmosphere. We mainly used the software to create long monotone drones to help build up tension and create mystery. In our film, we tried to give the impression of the girl being followed. Although the technology on the Macs was very limited, we managed to get one of the titles to follow her as she walked onto the screen. This foreshadowed what was to come, and was also in red writing so connoted danger. Unfortunately, due to the limits of the software, we could only do this to one shot and had to compromise with the other titles. In order to improve our film further, we decided to get feedback from people to see what they thought of our film. To do this, we used Web 2.0 by uploading our film to both YouTube and Facebook. We then asked people to leave comments. We then read through the comments which told us what people thought was good about the film and what could be improved, and then used them. By using Facebook, we managed to get a wide range of different opinions. In what ways does your media product use, develop, or challenge forms and conventions of real media products? In our film, we tried to use as many conventions as possible and tried to change them a bit to make our film different and more creative. In the beginning of our film, the character is wearing a red coat. This connotes danger and immediately makes the audience more wary and worried about her. The stereotype of most slash films is that a man kills a hopeless woman. However, we have changed this and added in a woman to help the unsuspecting victim. Another convention we have used is dramatic irony. This is used in many films, such as The Strangers, when the woman is making a cup of tea. You see someone standing in the doorway, however she does not see him. The dramatic irony is used when we see someone hiding behind the car seat but the victim is unaware. How did you attract and address your audience? To attract the right audience, we devised a questionnaire which we handed out to 20 people, half of which were boys and half of which were girls. These contained questions that asked what people liked about horror films and what they liked about it. We also asked what they didn't like, and many of the female responses were that women were too marginalised. We decided to interview a few people to see a bit more about this, and they said that it's always a man killing a hopeless woman. To try and change this, we add in a female accomplice, which helped the main antagonist. This was used to create confusion as it went against the usual stereotype and would stop women being so marginalised. As well as this, we asked questions about what people's favourite murder weapons were and what they thought made horror films scary. The favourite murder weapon was the chainsaw, so we incorporated it in the final scene. People also said that the dark scared them as you never know what's there, so we tried to keep the final scene as dark as possible to create a more tense atmosphere. Another thing that was flagged up in the questionnaire was the amount of gore in slasher films. Many people said that they did not like it. To address this, in the last scene, instead of seeing the girl being killed, we showed the shadow of it on the wall. This left more to the imagination and was more creative than the usual hacking to death of people. How does your media product represent particular social groups? In most slasher films that we've watched and researched, we found out that victims were usually vulnerable young blonde teenage girls being killed by a man. We decided to change this to add some confusion and mystery to the film. We created a female accomplice to the main killer. This showed empowerment to women as they were helping with the killing. We did keep the stereotypical blonde teenagers so that the audience would have a clear idea who the victim is. We did this because the audience research showed us that people were fed up of females being marginalised the whole time.
From the preliminary task, I have learned that it is very important to plan how your film will work. This helps make things clearer when it came to creating our actual media product. During the preliminary task, we didn't properly plan out the shots, and it took more time in the long run to get what we wanted. The preliminary task helped us develop our understanding of different techniques and also how to make the film look more professional. The 180-degree rule was used to make shots look more natural and stated that you should only film from one side of a straight line. It made shots look seamless, especially when people were talking. Also, the match on action was very useful in the making of the film, as it made it look more seamless. This rule means that you film the start and the end of an action and miss out the part in between. It makes the film flow faster without having to film the whole action. The shot reaction shot is where you film someone and then film someone else's reaction so you see their facial expressions. We used these techniques in the car conversation in the middle of the film. By doing the preliminary task, it helped us practice and improve our skills, so when it came to creating our own film, it looked more professional.
In the final part of the film, we tried to create a lot of tension to create a bigger impact. As it came to the climax of our film, we used shorter and shorter edits to build tension. We flipped between both the victim and the killer. To build more tension, we used an extreme close-up of the victim's eyes. This showed her facial expressions and that she was scared. We then used another extreme close-up of the victim's hands struggling. Then we switched to a more creative depth by using shadows to show the killing.